Hi, welcome to Wealthiest, Sharon, where your growth is intentional and being your best self is non-negotiable. My name is Sharon, and you're welcome to my channel. So last week I asked a simple question: what is stopping you from starting something new? So I actually created a poll last week because I wanted to see get like a feedback on some things from the audience or anyone watching. And one of I was only able to create, like, how you create a poll, you can only have four options. So before the options that I had, they were overthinking and the fear of failing, and another one was the waiting for the right time. And then, of course, not knowing where to start or how to even start. So I know there are other reasons that could be stopping, that could stop anyone. And though those options or whatever reason that you may have, they're valid. I'm not disputing that. And however, today we're going to be talking about what is really stopping you, because I know it's not laziness. It's probably something deeper. And some of the feedback that I got was some people said overthinking, some people said a few people said not sure where to start, and then some other people said the fear of failing. And it's funny because those things are those reasons are, like I said, they're valid. But if we look at if we go into in-depth thinking on talking about it, now I want to break down some of this, you know, reasons. Now, the top, or should I say my favorite, is overthinking. The reason why I said is my favorite because I'm an overthinker. I used to be an overthinker, okay, until God delivered me from that. Okay, so now I'm not saying it's completely gone, but it is. Oof, it is. It's now, you know, very little. Okay, to an extent. So now, what I call overthinking is overthinking is just a fear disguised as preparation. Yeah, you heard me right. Overthinking is just fear disguised as preparation. You'll be asking yourself, what if it's not? What what if it's not the right time? You know, what if what if I start now and then I don't get the feedback that I want? Or what if people don't like me? Or what if the business, take for example, you're trying to start it, you have this business idea and it's been in your heart to do for years, and then you've been thinking, okay, you have the money, you have the resources, you have the the human power, all the people who employ you or whatever. But then what really is stopping you at that point? You keep asking yourself, oh, maybe I'll start tomorrow. No, but thinking is like it's a big umbrella where other excuses can rest under. It's like a big canopy, and then it houses all the other excuses. Now, um, you're never going to get the right time to start. I'm talking about overthinking because it's one of those things where you keep giving yourself a million reasons not to start. You be like, what if it doesn't make sense? Okay, I know I can sew some great outfits. What if it's not perfect? Or, I mean, I can talk. So I take for me, for example, I mean, I can talk down about almost anything. except politics. Now that's because I don't like to talk about it, not because I don't know how to talk about it. But for example, if I was to start something, say for example, when I wanted to start the YouTube channel, one of the one of the when I said maybe the overthinking has been I've been delivered from it, but I just have a little bit left. It kicked in. Yeah, it did kick in. So one of the excuses I gave to myself was that, Sharon, you do know you're camera shy, even though you're good with, being at the back of camera, being behind the scenes and all of that. And then I was asking myself, I was talking about, I was like, okay, what if my skin is not perfect? Because I'm like, oof, do I have to wear makeup? Because I don't like to wear makeup because my skin breaks out. So I'm like, well, my pores are so large. I'm telling you, I gave so many reasons. Now you would ask myself, you would be like, well, those things don't really count. Well, to you, to another person, it might not count, but that's to me. So that's where overthinking comes in. Overthinking gives you 20 reasons in 1 minute not to start a thing. And the thing about it, it just keeps you stuck. So we don't want to overthink. We think about it. Of course, before you start something, you make research, you take your time, you ask yourself, is this feasible? Is it what are the strategic plans that I must take to to making this come to limelight? So once you're able to kill that thought of overthinking, and the thing about overthinking is it has thoughts in it, but then it's the over. So it's like it's like thinking going overboard. You understand? That's what overthinking is. And it's negative. You cannot overthink good thing. You can't overthink and come up with positive excuses. No, no. You won't. That would be actually you thinking and analyzing things. But overthinking would just be like, oh, okay, what if I make mistakes? Or what if I stutter while talking? Excuse me. Keep doing it. You get better at it. That's what it is. Okay. So now the next excuse would be the fear of failing. You see that fear of failing and overthinking. I call them fraternal twins. Yeah. They're it's like it's just one person that is split. In fact, I can say identical twins actually, because fear of failing is like it's just it's one thing that would paralyze you. Yes, it will. I remember when I was going to there was this thing that the Lord placed in my heart. I was writing, trying to write a book, and I was like, the first thing after I overthought, and I'm telling you, I did overthinking for like weeks, you know. So then I started to write, I'm still the whole traditional person, as you can see, I have my paper and everything. So I was like, took my pen, my pencil, because I love to write pencils. So I took my pencil and then I started to write. I scribbled. I went through the first chapter. The introduction, the everything. And I started writing chapter one. And then guess what? I froze. And how did I freeze? What made me freeze was I was like, Sharon, this one you're writing this book now, who is even going to buy it? Can you imagine? Of course, if as an author, if you write a book and nobody buys it, you can call it that a failure, right? So I was like, that's true. I mean, I don't have that audience yet. I mean, who even cares about what I write? And I was another thing that killed my morale then was we live in a generation, or the world is becoming uh, a place where people don't like to read. They just like to scroll, you know, through videos and all of that. And for me, I love to read. Like, I can, if you let me, all things being equal, I don't have any distraction, nothing, no job. I can read on a, in fact, I read during a vacation. When I go on vacations, I do read. That's one thing. That's the one time I'm able to like read and, no distractions. So that was what crippled me at that time. And then the way I was able to get over it was what I just started. I just started. I didn't bother myself like, oh, ah, I just say, you know what? I'm not doing this right now. And that's where my third option comes in, waiting for the right time. You see? So waiting for the right time is funny because how do you know it's the right time? What sets the tone for it to make it right? Is it the right month? Is it the right audience? Those are things that we need to overlook. Don't let anything stop you. I think for me, personally, I feel there is no right time to do anything, start anything new. As long as you've thought about it, you've prayed over it, you've made your research, you've asked questions, you have started you started gathering your materials, your resources, doing the label market or the market survey and all of that, depending on what you're doing. I mean, kickstart it, just start it, so. And there's a saying that says, there is no right time to start something until you take a step. There is not, you know. I personally, when I was going to, for anything, um, let me give you, it's kind of personal now, but I remember when I was going to move from another city where I was because of my separation from my ex spouse. And I really overtook the time. I did a lot of overthinking. I was like, what if I fail again? I go to this new place, things don't turn out right. Or I was like, and then I was like, is it really a good time to move? You know, is it, I'm already comfortable in this place. But then I know that with prayers and speaking to people, I had a great support system. Kudos to all of you. You all know yourselves. And in fact, it was. I just woke up one day, and I told myself, you know what? I've thought about it. I've prayed about it. I don't see anything stopping me. If anything is it's gonna be a good thing, and like a great time to transition, and I did. So, and then one thing you need to know is that for when it comes to the right time, unless it's the business, say for example, the business or like farmers now, when you plant something, guess what? They gotta wait for the right time, right? The they have to go through the tilling of the ground, planting, transplanting the process if it's needed, water, prune, and then daily watering and everything. And then they wait for the harvest time, like it could be 2 to 3 months after planting. Now those are legit reasons to wait for the right time. Now, and if you look at it, the harvest was not really the right time. They took the right time. They took the right step at the right time because what, the soil was favorable, the weather was conditioning good, you know, and then they had all their all their resources. They had all their seeds. They had all their tools. Now, and then also another thing would be a woman who is pregnant, and she, of course, we have to wait for the baby or babies to grow to perfection at the right time. So those are legit. But if you start something that and deep in your heart it's not money stopping you. It is not you being not in the right place to do it. Because sometimes where we find ourselves might not be a good place. We might have to move to another place to start something. So that is understanding. So I don't make yourself don't shorten yourself by saying, oh, I'll wait for the right time because trust me, there's never gonna be a right time. Okay. So now the last thing that I want to talk about would be not sure how or where to start. Right. And then it's it all boils down to waiting, just taking the steps. If you have, let's say, for example, you're planning to move to another city, or maybe you're trying to uh, change a job. You've been applying, and then you're like, think, you know what? I'm gonna stop applying because I don't even know if this is what I want to do. Or you just feel like it's not like the right time to start, or you don't even know where to start. So you not knowing where to start is actually you taking that step to start. Because if you don't know where to start, I mean, that's why you're going to learn. You have to, um, if you're looking at the 10, let's say, for example, you're thinking like 2 years, 3 years from now, you're trying to think like, okay, how will it be in 3 years from now? Hello, how you gonna know? You're not gonna know. You just start it. Take that first step. And all you need, you don't need a full plan. Like imagine God telling us now, I will say for me, for example, God says, Sharon, um, you're gonna be so and so 10 years from now. And I need you to, it gives me the gold graphics like a movie. I watch it and I see it. Even if he shows me all that, do you know at a time I'll be like, so how or where do I start? So you don't need a full plan to start. You don't need a blueprint. You just need to take that step. Just start. Be like a kid, a toddler when you're trying to work. Sometimes I used to remember when my babies were starting to work or wanting to work. I used to think before I was like, will I know when they're gonna take that first step? I hope I don't miss it, you know. And I'll be like, but there was the day one of them started working. Guess what? I was looking and he just got up and took his first step. And whoa, it was not on camera. So you see, it was we just do it. Just take the step, okay? So don't overthink. Don't don't have the fear of failing. Because if you fail, at least you tried. And that's a lesson and an experience, you know. So take that step. Don't wait for the right time because the right time was probably yesterday. You get the grief. So you you want to take that step. And even if you don't know where to start, that's fine. You learn on the job anyways. Okay, just make sure you're prepared. Like I said, you've done all your research, you have everything, and just do all that you need to do. Okay. And now, I know sometimes in life we could be like, okay, wondering, there could be delays, and you're like, okay, maybe now it's not the right. Maybe you just start and then you maybe met with the first obstacle, and you're like, oh yeah, I said it. It was not the right time to start. No, don't do that. Yes, I'm talking to you. You. Don't do it. Don't get discouraged. Okay, it's a good thing when you meet with obstacles and then you learn how to either move it out of the way or cross over it. But do not stop it. Don't let that stop you from doing what you need to do. Okay? Now, so I'm going to ask you again, what is stopping you from starting that thing you need to start? Okay, I know you learned and you're not gonna let it stop you. So I'm gonna re-ask you and say, is there anything that's gonna stop you from doing what you wanna do? That new thing you wanna do, that new business, that new endeavor? Is there anything new is there anything that's gonna stop you from doing that? Not the last time. Not tomorrow, not next week. Do it now. As you end this video, just say, I'm gonna do this and get to action. Okay? So I want you to comment below what you'll be starting, you know, and you can always comment. Trust me, I I will reply. That's for sure. So and if this spoke to you, and I want you to please like, comment, subscribe, share, and then don't forget to turn on that bell notification so that you don't miss out on the next one. Okay. So, and I do know that you spent time watching this today. Guess what? Remember, the life you want to build, start with a step. So I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.